I do know if I need help with something, I do know who I can possibly call upon.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But I've never thought about, right, this is my team. Actually, I need a centre mid and a right side mid. Not like that, but I've never thought I don't have someone who works in this field that would know that. I've never thought about it like that. I've just thought about it like, oh, who might be able to, like, if at some point I've come up stuck on something, I thought, well, someone in my circle has probably done this before. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if tomorrow I decided to create a new business, it'd be like, French, what do I do here?
Yeah.
If I decided if I decided I want to, I'm gonna on the evenings, 2 evenings a week, I'm gonna do the ride hailing thing. Pox, how do I set this up? If I decided, whatever it is, like I feel like I've got a network of people, not through business associates, but just in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've never thought what's missing.
Okay.
I've never thought what's missing. I've never thought about what's missing, if that makes sense.
But that's good as well. I mean, and I think you've mentioned it before. I think it's good to have people within your circle in which can help and assist you with that. But I would say this year specifically, I don't know if it started slow, but I was quite specific in that I wanted to have a mentor in regards to football, like real good mentors in regard to football, and real strong mentors as to creating content and from a financial standpoint as well. And sorry, and actual life, actually in business too. But it's been quite a lot going on, and actually, in order to have those pieces or that front three or front five costs a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to get that type of advice for free. Well, you can actually. Well, you can in some respect anyway. But like in terms of having someone genuinely mentor you, if you're looking for a paid service, it's going to cost a lot of money. So I've had kind of like a life coach in some respect, and I've had like conversations with what might be like a football mentor, but I've not had them on a consistent basis. I mean, I think I need them, man, because if we discuss obviously, or we go back to what we were talking about before as to, you know, wasting time in education and actually where could you have been as to where you were, you know, I kind of need to kind of like I don't want to say fast track. No, in fact, no, let's use the word fast track. If we can fast track things, by all means, let's do that. Do you know what I mean? I think we're old enough and smart enough to understand certain concepts. And I think, I don't know, I think sometimes people would just say things, and even the way they would say things or allow the penny to drop. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's important for myself at this moment in time. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm mature enough to understand certain things. Or sometimes you need someone to just kind of like kick you up the backside to actually, this is what you need to do and this is what you need to do now. Essentially, they're your coach. Do you know what I mean?
What about from like I'm more talking about like a financial standpoint, in regards to this chapter where Melody, she basically gets hooked up by a dad in terms of who to go and speak with. Do you have any sort of team such as that?
Nah, but I think I'm missing that.
I don't have that team. And the fact you hit the nail on the head. Family fortunes, mate.
Nepotism, boys.
What's the word mean again?
So it's a new word to me. But nepotism, I think, is essentially, and someone might correct me, I think it is essentially when you get kind of like good fortune or hooked up through what might be, let's say, your father's contacts and stuff like that. Yeah. New word for me.
Yeah. Family fortune.
It's the new word going around right now.
Oh, is it? Is it a buzzword?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard the word before. I don't ever hear P use it. So. Yeah.
All right, so most adults avoid these dreaded conversations about money matters due to a lack of confidence on the subject. If they don't feel comfortable with their own finances, then it can be extremely difficult to approach the subject, even when those who know nothing about it. Others assume that talking to kids about money requires sharing details of your account balances, which may end up as a conversation on social media or in the school playground. However, it's not so much detail of what you have that matters, but helping the children to become familiar with the subject as a whole. Melody and her brother were very much a part of a money conversation in their home. So as they grew up, they embraced the challenge of handling money with an attitude of, "You've been here before." They weren't afraid of it, and they could objectively recognize what they needed to do in order to maintain their values they've been taught at home. With that being said, will you talk to your offspring about money, and how will you broach the subject?
Yeah, I will. And even now, it's just little things at the moment that, like, I might sit, like, my oldest might kick off. So like every day when I pick him up from nursery, I'll bring him like maybe a juice and like a snack or something like that. And sometimes he might kick off because I haven't got the right snack. or the snack's finished and he wants another one, and then he'll kick off. And I'll explain to him like, you do realize that this is a treat that mummy and daddy pay for because we want, you know, we want you to have a treat after nursery. If you, I don't know if you see, but and it must be some of it will seep in, most of it will go over his head. But I say like some of your other toddler friends, when their parents come, they don't have a treat. Yeah, so it's a privilege. This is a privilege. It's not like something you just have. And I try and explain that mummy and daddy pay for this for you. And it's just little things like he might say, I want some on something. And I might be like, or he might grab something and say, Ziggy's, say his name. But then I say, did you pay for it? And you say, yeah. And I said, with what money? So it's little things. And then even like, if we go out for like to grab something for the supermarket, I'll make him pay with my card. It's little things, like he doesn't know what he's doing. He just like probably likes the sound. So even if I jump on a bus with him, do you want to tap daddy's card or the train?
Yeah.
Taps the card. He knows that's a transact. Well, he doesn't know the name transaction, but he knows I do this. This gets me through here.
Okay.
So I haven't started to broach the subject and really sit down and talk proper finances. It's just little things. So he realizes, okay, for me to obtain this, there has to be this card. I need one of these cards. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just little things that starting to eke into him so that he's, and then, you know, you're just slowly but surely, if that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, wider point. Yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will. As and when, I don't think there's no as and when the time's right. It's just, it will naturally kind of begin to flow. Yeah, naturally begin to flow. So even things I could do, like when Bill's coming out, so I've never like shown him this is a bit. So even things that I could start to show. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think I think maybe the easiest way I can explain it, I'm sure there are so I can't think of the youngest age I can begin to educate what will be my children, for example. But like, if I'm thinking of when I was, let's say 10, 11 as such, when you're getting either pocket money or you're doing your paper round and you're receiving money for your paper round, I'd want them to understand the value of money as to, okay, cool, you received this and now understand what it can actually pay for. So I say gradually they begin to understand actually it takes a lot of money in order to buy, let's say, a pair of Air Forces, etc., etc., and it requires discipline in order to be able to keep, let's say, that money. Do you know what I mean? Because it's quite easy to make money, but was that, yeah, is that the right way? Like, yeah, it's easy. Is it easy to make? No, it's hard to make money, but yeah, that's correct. Yes. So anyway, I forgot where I was going with that in some respect, but I just want them to understand the value of money in that respect. Okay, cool. If I do this amount of work, or then okay, it's going to equate to that value. But okay, but how much is the value of the thing that I want to buy? And I guess maybe gradually over a period of time, they'll start, let's say, doing the maths or maybe understanding, okay, cool, it requires a lot of work in order to buy X or Y. Do you know what I mean? And I guess maybe for the same for us as well, as to cool, like say, for example, if you want to buy a home, it needs you to take or save X amount of pounds in order to save for a deposit, and then you could buy a house. Do you know what I mean? Which takes people, I know, several years to save for a deposit, or in some cases, it takes some people, I don't know, I don't want to say a lifetime, but you get my point. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's the way in which I think I would educate my children. But I think I want money to be, I don't know,
Not a taboo.
yeah, no, definitely not a taboo. No. Like we've come too far for that type of stuff. No, honestly, far too far for that. No. Yeah, some of the things that we've been through, I can't think of things off the top of my head. And not to say that our parents did anything wrong per se, but like, I think we've come too far and had too many, let's say, colorful experiences for us not to learn from them and then, do you know what I mean, bestow them on our children. Do you know what I mean? I want my children to be wiser than I was, you know what I mean, beyond their years.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely do the same. I think it would be just another conversation like, what's on the TV, or what was you learning in school today? It'll just be another conversation of, right, this is the budget for the week, and they can have their own budget. This is your budget, this is the family budget, this is why we do it. And just put it in terms that they can understand. So whether it's like, if they want to get a game for their computer, okay, let's count out your pocket money. How much time are you gonna have to need to put aside? Or so just helping them so they can understand on their level. Then as they get older, it's not a conversation that they can't just talk about. It's just like it's just normalize it, because
Yeah.
as we know, we grew up in environments where, not to say it wasn't normalized, but it just wasn't a conversation that
Definitely.
was freely had.
Yeah. The other
Go on.
because actually, with the oldest, he loves books. So he does watch YouTube. Like there's certain things he watches on YouTube. Like he loves like construction vehicles and stuff, which is weird. And his random thing, what's his guilty pleasure is he likes to watch dirty cars getting cleaned.
Okay.
That's his thing on YouTube. He just wants to watch someone move a dirty car into a puddle into some water and then see it clean. So he likes that stuff. But he likes books. So before bed, he always wants his book. And he'll get so the other thing actually, now that when you're speaking, I was thinking about actually I could buy some books now that have like finance in there. Like whereas I don't know, Peter went to the shop and bought one sweet for 5 pence. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he loves books. So yeah, that's one thing I could do even from now.
So no, I think what I was going to say was like, obviously I know we went back and forth in regards to it in a group chat, as to teaching. So like they were saying, there's a figure, I completely forgot the figure now anyway, as to the amount of males who are not in teaching, where as opposed to yesteryear. And I think the guy came on the radio, and sorry, jump in if I say something wrong or incorrect. The guy came on the radio and he said a number of different things in regards to the kids, PC this, PC that, so on and so forth. But he also spoke about the finances in regards to how much teachers get paid. And he was saying, so I don't want to make it a man or woman thing, but he was saying like, as a man or someone who wants to buy X, Y, Z, or potentially lead his family, provide, thank you, like the maths don't maths. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think you want your kids, or I would like my kids to understand, cool, like this is what I want to do. All right. And in being that, for example, like just say, I don't know, a fireman or what have you, do you know what I mean? This is what you're going to get paid. And this is what ultimately you're going to be able to afford, you know, let's say with that salary in London or in Birmingham or in Ghana. Do you know what I'm saying? Or what, this is what that's going to be able to do for you going forward. Whereas I don't think I had that knowledge. I mean, yeah, there's me. I was lying. I was about to lie. Do you know what I mean? Like, but no, not lie, but like,
yeah, straight up, I did it.
Apart from being a footballer or something like that, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think my mind was broad enough, let's say,
to know
in high school.
Yeah, the professions. Yes, I didn't, bro.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. That wasn't a conversation. It was more just, what do you want to do? My initial thing was football, and I thought, okay, you'd always get told, oh, it's not guaranteed, you may not make it. So I was like, oh, if I don't make it, then I want to be as close to it. That's why I went with sports therapy, so I could still do sports, but be close to football still. That was my thinking at the time. I wasn't thinking about a career to be financially set or anything like that. So I probably would have went a different direction or chosen something different if I had that conversation.
I have this conversation with riders all the time in regards to I would have done something completely different. And do you know, it's funny because it's funny. Like we're talking about in high school, but now you say it, yo, we're all big 20, like, and we're still probably didn't know. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of time from 15, 16 up until like say 21, do you know what I mean? Or 18 when you decided to make that choice to go to uni. Do you know what I mean? Still then could have changed your mind as to what kind of degree you wanted to do at that given point. It's a lot of time, man. Do you know what I mean? And I guess those are the things, sorry, that I like to give my child the head start with or in. Do you know what I mean? You know, because even recently I've been thinking about as to I mean, do you know, sometimes we go back and forth, would I have done things differently? I think to myself, do you know, I think there are a number of different things I would have done differently. Even this conversation here itself, do you know what I mean? Like, would I have got into, I don't know why I always think not law, but like, I can't think of nothing off the top of my head now, actually. But there's always something else, something that makes me think, actually, I would have done that. And I think I would have been better off. You know, I would have I wouldn't be surprised if there's a good 5-10 years that could have been easily different from a financial standpoint. Think about the amount of years I don't want to say wasted, right? Because it's not wasted. I use the wrong word there, but like the amount of time I spent in education from, what year was it? 2010 up until at least 20, I don't know, 7 to 18. Do you know what I mean? It's a good 8 years. Do you know what I mean? Like in education where I was earning next to nothing. Let's have it right. Do you know what I mean? I would love to know. What was I thinking about? See, a lot of thoughts been running through my mind recently. Back then, TAs were getting, if you were getting 85, people were happy. Do you know what I mean? And by the way, I mean, there were TAs getting a lot more than that. Do you know? Not say a lot more than that, but TAs getting a lot more than, anyway, TAs getting more than that. All right, and I just think it's mad, honestly. Oh, was I telling you about I picked up a rider and she was telling me that car instructors get like £80 for 2 hours.
Yeah, you were saying that the other day.
I don't know, it's me and you having this conversation, but if you like with cost of living, inflation, etc., it's probably about right. Whereas like when I was taking my lessons, I was paying him, I don't know, 12.50, maybe 15 tops. When it went to 15, I was like, Jesus Christ. Do you know what I mean? So it made me think, actually, what are TAs getting at this? The girl told me she pays £80 for a 2 hour lesson. She goes, it's not affordable. She goes, actually, there are others who are charging 120.
I was saying it's about inflation though, because the prices we were paying when we learned to drive, seemed about right.
Yeah.
In terms of the time that we was learning.
Yeah. Okay.
She said like she's gone on a lesson before.
Okay, sorry.
A lesson, sorry, and the guy, no, crash, yeah, a lesson, and I don't know, including in this 120, the guy gets her a Starbucks or whatever, what have you. Nonsense, honestly. She said, I'm not interested in those Starbucks. I want to be taught how to drive. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but sorry, no, it made me think about what are TAs and what are teachers getting at this moment in time if that was yesteryear. Honestly, man. It makes you think the amount of time we wasted in education. Imagine wasting, I don't know, from let's say 7 up until let's say 16, but let's say even 21. You come out, we got degrees, and we end up. I don't. So again, I'm not knocking the anything in education. I never ever do that. But based on the monetary value in terms of the amount of money we invested in our education and time, the time you'll never get back, to be then getting, I don't know, when you first start being a TA, offering you, I don't know, 75 or what have you. Lord have, Lord have mercy, bruv. Lord have mercy. When I sit down and think about these things, a cold light day, I think, I've been had, Andrew. Been had.
All right, so we'll move on slightly to a different topic. Building a team of advisors. I think part of my success was down to understanding who I needed on my team at every stage, and that's on page 156. Do you know who's on your team? Do you know who your team is and who's missing?
That's a good question. I've never really thought about it like that.
I have been.
Oh, you have been thinking about it like that?
Yeah, gone.
You know, I haven't really thought about it like that, but I do know how, if I need help with something, I do know who I can possibly call upon.
Okay.
If that makes sense. But I've never thought about, right, this is my team. Actually, I need a centre mid and a right side mid. Not like that, but I've never thought I don't have someone who works in this field that would know that. I've never thought about it like that. I just thought about it like, oh, who might be able to, like, if at some point I've come up stuck on something, I thought, well, someone in my circle's probably done this before. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if tomorrow I decided to create a new business, it'd be like, French, what do I do here?
Yeah.
If I decided if I decided I'm gonna on the evenings, 2 evenings a week, I'm gonna do the ride hailing thing. Pox, how do I set this up? If I decided, whatever it is, like I feel like I've got a network of people, not through business associates, but just in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've never thought what's missing.
Okay.
I've never thought what's missing. I've never thought about what's missing, if that makes sense.
But that's good as well. I mean, and I think you've mentioned it before. I think it's good to have people within your circle in which can help and assist you with that. But I would say this year specifically, I don't know if it started slow, but I was quite specific in that I wanted to have a mentor in regards to football, like real good mentors in regards to football, and real strong mentors as to creating content and from a financial standpoint as well. And sorry, and actual life, actually in business too, but it's been quite a lot going on. And actually, in order to have those pieces or that front three or front five cost a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to get that type of advice for free. Well, you can actually. Well, you can in some respect anyway. But like in terms of having someone genuinely mentor you, if you're looking for a paid service, it's going to cost a lot of money. So I've had kind of like a life coach in some respect, and I've had like conversations with what might be like a football mentor, but I've not had them on a consistent basis. I mean, I think I need them, man, because if we discuss obviously, or we go back to what we were talking about before as to, you know, wasting time in education and actually where could you have been as to where you were, you know, I kind of need to kind of like I don't want to say fast track. No, in fact, no, let's use the word fast track. If we can fast track things, let's by all means, let's do that. Do you know what I mean? I think we're old enough and smart enough to understand certain concepts. And I think, I don't know, I think sometimes people will just say things, and even the way they will say things will allow the penny to drop. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's important for myself at this moment in time. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm mature enough to understand certain things. Or sometimes you need someone to just kind of like kick you up the backside to actually, this is what you need to do and this is what you need to do now. Essentially, they're your coach. Do you know what I mean?
What about from like I'm more talking about like a financial standpoint, in regards to this chapter where Melody, she basically gets hooked up by a dad in
Yeah.
terms of who to go and speak with. Do you have any sort of team such as that?
Nah, but I think I'm missing that.
I
Very
don't have that team. And the fact you hit the nail on the head. Family fortunes, mate.
Nepotism, boys.
What's the word mean again?
So it's a new word to me. But nepotism, I think, is essentially, and someone might correct me, I think it is essentially when you get kind of like good fortune or hooked up through what might be, let's say, your father's contacts and stuff like that. Yeah. New word for me.
Yeah. Family fortune.
It's the new word going around that now.
Oh, is it? Is it a buzzword?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard the word before. I don't ever hear P use it. So yeah. Family fortunes. That's I don't have that, bro. I'm not even gonna say online what my my parents and you know what I'm saying. Like they weren't introducing me to the type of people she got introduced to. Telling her about private banks and yeah. It's not on my radar. It wasn't on my radar.
It's funny because that Gary Stevenson, and I don't know if I saved the clip. He was saying, come on, what was he saying? That like he was kind of saying something like along the lines, you're not gonna be able to buy a house unless daddy is like able to help you, like here and now and in the future. It's just not happening unless your dad or your mum can put you on. From moving on from here on in, it's going to be very, very difficult. Like some people disagree. In fact, you might disagree. Do you know what I mean? Well, I would like to believe I can still get myself out of a situation, but like, I think generally speaking, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got, I guess, a skeleton team, but I wouldn't say they're in my back pocket of I can always pick up my phone. I mean, essentially I can, but I never thought of it as having a team per se, but it's more through conducting business that I've met these individuals and I can use their services I want. So, for example, I've got a financial advisor person that I can call and have a conversation with. But that was through I met the owner of the financial advising company through a business networking event. So I met that person and he put me onto one of his juniors, so to speak.
Okay.
So if I need to get financial advice, I can, if I choose to, call this person up and have a conversation about certain things. In regards to an accountant, obviously I've got an accountant for the business, so but that's more just for the business. I've met another accountant that I need to actually get in contact with now that I think about it on a more personal kind of level, so I can ask a bit more detailed questions. Other than that, I wouldn't say, definitely, I can't say my parents have put me onto anyone, but saying that, I do believe one of my aunties is either a lawyer or an accountant or something like that. I'll have to ask my dad again. But again, I don't know what it's like with your family, but no one seems to talk, so that's a whole different story. But yeah, I never proposed it in my mind of having a team until I read it, that concept. Yeah, there's a couple people in my corner, so to speak, that I could call and get advice from if I need it. But yeah, there's probably still a few different people missing. I'm not too sure who yet, but I'm sure I'll meet them along the way, or if I don't, I'll seek them out intentionally.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so what Melody was describing was her ability to seek help and expertise from professionals who could guide her decision making as her career and financial situation matured. She had witnessed firsthand the circus of advisors who came out of the woodwork during her parents' divorce. But in truth, there is nothing more informative about this Establishing the right team of advisors is extremely important as you seek to build and grow your wealth. And that's on page 156.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad told her that the secret to becoming wealthy and staying wealthy is having the right team of advisors. So, the role of a financial advisor. An independent financial advisor, IFA, is an individual who is qualified and able to give impartial advice, as well as recommended a broad range of financial products from a broad range of providers. Have you had an experience with a financial advisor, and how was it?
Good question. Do you know what? I'm trying to rack my brain if it was. I think I have, but I was so not young. I was in my 20s. I would have been in my 20s. And I'm sure it was just. I think I might have randomly went in the bank, and it was to do with something to do with an ISA. Like I either wanted to open an ISA or do something with ISA, and they might have part of that process. They might have forced me. When I say forced, no one held a gun to me, but said we advise you speak to a financial advisor as part of that process. So I think that's what I have. But in terms of the depth of what a financial advisor can do and can assist with, I haven't had that kind of breadth of kind of conversation because I didn't have money like that to be where do you plant. It was more to do with what type of ISA is best for me? Stocks for shares, cash, that kind of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have, but not to anywhere near the levels that I know the book does eventually go into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So my experience was, I think I'd already made my mind up that I just want to put it into a standard cash ISA. So it was like, it was almost like crossing the I's and dotting the T's, having that conversation so that I could get there. I think as part of their due diligence, they probably have to, just to make you aware of the risks or you know what you're doing, you can't access the money, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But I haven't sat down and had a proper chat with a financial advisor about long-term plans and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll say probably very similar actually, in that like I might have spoken with someone in regards to an ISA or something like that, but many, many moons ago. But like as to a proper financial advisor, nah. And I think I was gonna say it's not embarrassing, but I mean like when I think about it as to maybe the lengths you've gone to do other things, like I feel like, you know, speaking with a financial advisor is like really imperative. Do you know what I mean? Like as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, like, do you really speak the language of money? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Even more so, not that because we're getting a little bit older or turning 40 or what have you, but it's like the time in it is not far away, you know, not far away. And even within some of the quotes like in the book or certainly that I've noted down in regards to at some given point, you're gonna have to rely on what you've built. Yo, like I'm not getting up as early as I was maybe once upon a time, or even like when we think about, you know, we used to rate Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like them days are long gone. Like even if there were opportunities to go out, I would not be, you know, able to do that. I mean,
this stuff down. I'm not even joking. Someone sent me something, some Garage Nation thing. I was like, yeah, not for me, bro. I'm being serious, bro. I'm like, yeah.
do you know what I mean? I'm referring to like the energy. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about the energy as well, but having the energy to get up and be able to do those things. So like in 10, 15 years time, you know, if you're not able to go out and physically work as much as you did when you were younger, I hope you're going to be able to rely on what you've actually built. Do you know what I mean? Or have the knowledge to allow your money to work for you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, understanding money and the language of money and what it can do for you, and as soon as possible, like, is really important.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Tax. You'll get taxed, so
No comment.
it's a conversation that has to be had. Taxes were tended to fall equally among similar people, with the idea that those who can afford it should pay more. But the more someone earns, the more tax efficient they become, which can lead to them paying less tax than others. You may call it self-interest, but they see it as self-preservation, and that's on page 171. What are your thoughts on paying more tax if you earn more?
I don't know, because I think there's something that you've said recently. You said it a few times as to you feel if you've done well in life, you should be afforded. You said something.
Let him say it.
No, because no, I guess what I'm saying is that like it's made me sit and think as to no, there is like there's good merit to that. I do believe that you should reap the benefits of making a lot of money, but at the same time, there's no reason why if I'm earning X amount of pounds that I shouldn't be contributing towards society as well. I feel if you're I understand that, like,
Government's got you wrapped up, boy.
who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. But I guess what I'm going to say is, like, I understand that, for example, if I'm a business and let's say Amazon, for example, and I'm employing hundreds of thousands or millions of people, as a business, I'll be entitled to tax breaks, etc., etc. I believe in that. I'm doing the government a fucking favor. You better fucking pull one in for me. Do you know what I mean? But like, if you're talking about, I'm an employee and I'm earning, let's say, 6 figures, I do believe you should be paying tax. The question is how much tax. Do you know what I mean? And I do have like issue with that as to those paying 40 and 50%. That's a lot. Do you know what I mean? Particularly if you're just over that threshold as well. And you have those conversations with people as to like, what's the fucking point? Why am I here? Do you know what I mean? I might as well be, I've had people say I might as well be earning 50K. Do you know what I mean? As to earning 100. Do you know what I mean? Have those conversations with people. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't think people should be put in that position where they're questioning the logic as to those two things. And of course, it's a fine line, but we shouldn't be put in those sort of positions. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, shouldn't be put in those positions. I don't think anyway. Yeah.
Wow. It's horrible out there, man. These mofos, bro. Honestly, honestly, the way I just feel like they don't want you to win. Bruv, honestly, they just want everyone to be in this middle range or as many people as possible. And when you're reading the little quote from that about the more you earn, the more tax efficient you become.
Yeah.
You have to get to a point where with the wealth, the money, it brings that power, that influence where you can, and that kind of that circle of people who, like the financial advisor you get introduced to and whoever else it is, that can help you then do this. What's the one where it's not against the law? Not tax avoidance, there's tax avoidance and tax something else in there. There's one, tax avoidance is,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those people can help you to.
It's not being tax efficient, but I know what you're saying.
It's tax avoidance. I think it's a negative term, but tax efficient essentially. Because otherwise, you're just like, I'm telling you, they just want you to be in this middle range in this country. Like they just want you to. And yeah, I have said that point before. I feel like if you've done well, you might be out here working 3 to 4 jobs, all on that, not basic, but just a decent, like an okay salary. But then you've worked 3 or 4 of them. Remember, you're already getting your double or whatever emergency or whatever tax it is because you've got more than one form of employment. And then because you've met 3 or 4 jobs, you're trying to support a household. They're taxing you. Yeah, they're taxing you the whatever that highest 45% bracket is, because you want to just better yourself. That's just horrible for me. And you might be doing all that just to actually keep at a level where you can sustain your family, do the food shopping, pay the bills, and have a holiday a year. Do you get what I'm saying? And these lot want a piece of every blood clot thing and everything. Take the what and left the what. Take the what and bruv. I think it's disgusting personally. I just feel like, and I was see like I've always felt like not just with that, but just if you're trying to do better for yourself, just set a standard rate of tax, bro, for everyone. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that can't work in the long run.
No, I thought about it as well. I don't know if it would work, but I mean, I thought.
But it's just like the way these niggas are smart, bro. The way they set up is just like you're gonna end up in that pool anyway, like in that pool, like that kind of range, just above the bread. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Maybe just they just keep you there, bro.
Squeeze in the middle.
Yeah, bro. That's mad.
But I think
Yeah.
they encourage businesses or people to become entrepreneurs because you get certain tax benefits,
Great.
things like that. But I think what the issue tends to be is when you get conglomerate companies that become so big that they pay next to nothing. That's where the issue is.
Yeah,
Because the common working man will end up paying more tax
Mad.
than, say, because you've used the name already, Jeff Bezos.
Wow.
Because they've got so many loopholes and so many lawyers per se and accountants that can have tax loopholes and be able to, I guess, do business in one country but be situated in another, and because that country that they're situated doesn't have certain tax benefits, it looks crazy because it's like all your employees, yes, you've made thousands of employees and they're all paying tax back into the system, which is great. But there's also a lot of tax that's not being taken into account because of the way you've structured the business. But again, these laws have been made in such a way that once you get to a certain point, you're going to utilize them. And as it says, it's about having self-preservation. So
Yeah.
it's a system thing, really.
Tax evasion, tax avoidance. Those are the two, innit?
Yeah.
So avoidance is fine. That is in
Avoidance is fine.
evasion is the one. And you got yeah. Horrible.
I mean, it just speaks to, I mean, just touching on the whole taxing as to whether it should be standardized, let's say 20% across the board, or whether it should be progressive as to, I don't know, because obviously it's,
That's how it is at the moment.
yeah, progressive. So I guess like it speaks to obviously the reason why, I don't know, the conversation now is like why are people leaving? It's because this place isn't, I guess for some people, well, I don't want to say, yeah, probably not tax efficient. Do you know what I mean? And I guess I don't even know where you go. I really don't know where you go from here as to how you sorry. Oh, I mean, mind you, that was kind of like one of my questions in some respects, actually. But like, where do we go from here as to like taxing people? Like, what is the best? What is the solution? Sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that person.
Do you know what I mean? But I think we've gone so far left or right as to whether it's lifestyle, things politically, and then things from a, let's say, financial standpoint as to where we are financially here, but also globally. It's like you look at, you weigh things up and you go, nah, I'm not doing this place. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, mad, bro. Do you not remember, I can't remember how many years ago it was, when there was something happened in the economy. I can't remember what it was. This was way before COVID. Do you remember when VAT temporarily went down to 15% from 17.5? Do you guys remember that?
No.
You guys don't remember that? So it was like do you remember when it was like 17.5%?
Yeah.
For like ages and ages.
Yeah.
Something to do with the economy. They were like, we're temporarily going to move it down to
think I know what you're talking
15%. Yeah. And then when the economy fixes back up, we'll push it up to 20%. But like it was meant to be a temp. Bro, let's say they gave you 6 months to get at 15%. They then shoved it back up to 20 and just left it there, bro. Like, just left it there. These mofos, bro. They just left it there.
Right, they'll never put it back.
Bro, it's not gonna go back now. We know that. But it was just these. See you next Tuesdays, man. Bruv, that's honestly, man, it's just ridiculous.
We'll move on from tax.
It's ridiculous, man.
Before it gets too heated.
Yeah, I just think it's horrible. They want a piece of everything.
Literally.
I was just thinking about electric cars, bro. I think they get taxed from December or something like that, and congestion charge from December or something like that.
Frank White.